That's why we put you in the breakout rooms, folks, is so that you could come up with some questions for our panel here. I know you have them. Just don't be shy.
I won't be shy then, Robert. One of the things that was raised by one of the students on the panel was that in order to be engaged in the challenge-based education, it was necessary to have some foundational knowledge. And I just wonder how the School for Humanity deals with that challenge in ensuring that students have the basic groundwork in order to be able to participate effectively in the challenge-based education.
Yeah, happy to give this a go. So in the framework of challenge-based learning has 3 steps. You first engage with the challenge, then you investigate it, and then you act on it, right? So the act is typically the solve phase. And obviously different schools apply it slightly differently. In the high school, what we did is if we have a 13-week term, we spend about 5 to 6 weeks on engaging. And this is where we cover the foundational knowledge to be able to tackle the challenge, as well as linking it to discipline. So one of the challenges that we're running this term for the high school is about our common humanity. It's a very broad one, but during those 5 weeks, we cover life sciences and biology around what do all humans and life have in common. We actually cover a bit of statistics. We analyze some UN SDG data and develop some statistical analysis skills. Learners cover a bit of psychology, a bit of machine learning and AI, like thinking about humans and AI. And so we go through a few weeks of just learning as much as possible in an interdisciplinary way. And then it becomes more open-ended. And in parallel to that as well, learners do pick up skill and disciplinary units that they do in their own time. So whether it's the English, math, sciences, or more 21st century skills or transferable skills, that we do kind of make sure there's that depth as well as breadth. But it's something we're constantly measuring and making sure it is being covered. We might have to adapt things in our schedule to make sure we continue to put emphasis on that in the context of the high school. And of course, with the context of the summer schools, I think maybe someone, Ece, can speak to they are getting some of that grounding in their schools, but we still do have an engaged phase in the challenge. It's just a bit shorter.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. How do we create curiosity, like the driver of any kind of learning lifelong process?
Selma or Ece, would you like to give this a go?
Yeah, I would love to talk about this because we had I think in the engage phase, we had a specific session about curiosity, and basically what the approach is that we do a root cause analysis. Again, all of the analysis or the types of analysis we did in the summer school required asking questions. So you would program your brain to ask more questions, and therefore you would have a natural curiosity towards the problem you're approaching. So in the root cause analysis, you keep asking yourself, why does this happen? Why? How? Okay. We also had a systematic analysis. We had to break down the systems we're tackling, and it all the whole the main goal of these sessions was to ask more questions. And this kind of you train your brain to ask more questions in the 6 weeks we were in the program, and you carry on this skill in life. And this is what I've learned. This is what I've seen in myself. I've been asking more questions. I've been more curious about a lot of things that might not be as important as to the normal human eye, but when you program yourself to ask more questions in a condensed 6 weeks, after that you carry it on in life. And this is how curiosity was created in my brain.
Thank you.
So how many students do you have, and how many teachers do you have in order to keep the program running and having resources for everybody?
So in the last year, because we've been piloting through summer and after school programs for about 1.5 years, we've served almost almost 150 students around the world from across 30 countries, across 5 continents. And with our current high school that just launched, we started with a small group of 20 learners from 10 countries. And we have over 15 educators in our community. Some of them are full-time, we work with on a per project basis for specific programs. And typically in terms of ratios, like it really varies. Most workshops don't have more than 15 learners in them. Some of the mentorship sessions are even smaller, like they're 3 to 5 learners in a session. And we've had cohorts as small as 10 as well. Like we try to, 15 is usually our max for a session with a single educator. And so, yeah, I think one thing that's been really amazing as well is just reimagining the role of the educator in the midst of this. So as you can imagine, in a model like ours, teachers don't play a very traditional role. It's more of facilitating, we call them learning facilitators. So it's more of facilitating a personalized journey, helping learners drive their curiosity. It's much closer to like a Montessori-based model of teaching than more content transfer model of teaching.
And so the facilitators, are they high school teachers or are they researchers from universities, or what is their background?
We have a mix. So we always try to have a balance of people that have that formal teaching background and those that are coming in from a more, let's say, industry practitioner experience. And with our current cohort of 20, there are 3 main facilitators. One of them, 2 of them actually do have one of them has a traditional teaching background with an innovative twist. One comes from a completely alternative education background. So it's been teaching with Montessori on online schools. And a third one had no traditional teaching background, was just an amazing natural teacher, but she came from university research as well as being an engineer and practicing in the field. And for us, that's really powerful to bring people that have practitioners in whatever domain and actually bringing them to teach. So we like to have a balance of those 3 personas for our educators.
So the ratio of facilitators per student, is that higher than normal high schools? And the expenses that you save because you don't have to have a lot of real estate, does that go into teachers and what would the other expenses be?
Yeah, so the average ratio is 8:1 for facilitators to learners, which it is higher than most school systems. It will vary depending on what you compare it to. For sure, I think also the other things we do is that balance of synchronous and asynchronous, right? So there's a lot that happens on online platforms. In the high school, we've partnered with like Century Tech, these kinds of things that open up an educator's time and resource so that they can focus on the one-on-ones and focus on giving personalized guidance to the learners, checking in on each learner's progress. So that's part of one of the innovations of what we do is we actually split up the role of the educator. So traditionally educators do everything. They design curriculum, they lead curriculum, they grade, they assess, all that stuff. We actually split that up into different functions. So we have learning designers that design learning journeys, that design curriculum, and then we have learning facilitators that facilitate it. And sometimes there's a bit of overlap. And then we also have learning administrators that support with admin. So that just opens up a lot of time and resources for the facilitators to be able to focus on supporting the learners.
I had a quick question. Do you foresee doing any kind of, as you grow, and co-location event? I think of online universities, they sometimes have like 1 week a year where they bring in all the people from around are you looking to try to do something like that, or?
Yes, we are. We're serving families at the moment to see if that's
Okay.
something of interest, like an annual gathering. One of the challenges we have such a range of socioeconomic backgrounds. Like we have learners from all walks of life in our cohort. Is just like being able to make that financially sustainable with the travel costs and whatnot. But we are currently looking into it. You would be really excited to do that. We want to make sure everyone is included in the cohort.
Ece and Sama, what are you planning to do with your education here afterwards?
So as I mentioned earlier, that I'm currently trying to graduate high school in my home country, Turkey. Yeah, so in Turkey, in order to get an entrance to a university, you need to sit on a national exam, and like you need to do well in it to be able to go into a good university. So I'm currently studying for that. Unfortunately, that's the system in Turkey, but yeah, I mean, what can I do about that? Yeah, I'm just trying to study for that. But as well as that, I'm currently trying to give applications to other universities all around the world. And actually during this process, I am thinking about trying to use what I learned from School of Humanity to, show the other universities that, I got this kind of skill sets and I can do well with them in your school. Or maybe I learned those things, I experienced those things, and I'm trying to show them, I'm trying to create a profile that shows them, this is what I learned and I can do much better if I will be in your school, or if I be there, if I had the opportunity to do this. Yeah, and currently I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But for me, what I've learned from School of Humanity, I feel like it will create a very solid foundation for me to be able to show others what I got.
Okay, for me, well, I'm a senior in high school, so I'm applying to universities. I actually have the deadline in October 15th. And what I'm going to be doing, I'm applying for medicine, hopefully. And I'm currently doing my A-levels, so there's that, because most universities require that. Actually, kind of all of the universities I'm applying to require that. But I've come to find that universities actually value experience more than your grades. So I'm planning to show universities that my experience in the School of Humanity and the challenges I've approached and I've solved actually qualify me to go into these universities, or to to have these challenges, or the experience I've learned in School of Humanity is useful to universities, basically. And they look for this type of experience in students because it makes them more special than everyone else. Because anyone can get an A, but not everyone can approach challenges in the way that we do in School of Humanity. So this is kind of my plan for now.